How's everybody? Hi, Alex. Hi, Nikia. Hi, Karen. Maurice, I know you're at work. Hi, Miana. Let's see, other faces are popping in. Hey, Erica. Oh, my screen. Every time I say hi to someone, it jumps across the screen and then it trips me out. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Wednesday. Alex, I'm trying to find your name on the screen. Okay, there you are. How's everybody going? It is the last week of September. Anybody got any cool wins, milestones, accomplishments, anything to share?
Hey guys, my name's Steven Torres, and I just appreciate y'all for having me on. Sorry about the noise. I'm picking up my kids right now from the bus stop. But one accomplishment I did have is I started my nonprofit for battered women and children, and basically we're gonna do a raffle off a home, and basically be able to put a family in the home and then take the proceeds and create more housing for battered women and children dealing with domestic abuse and violence.
Did I hear that right? You just said you were about to raffle off a home?
Yes.
Okay.
What state are you in?
We're in Texas, Austin, Texas.
That is awesome. You have to keep us posted on how that goes. Document the whole thing. If there's anything to record, I want to see a video created out of that. That is cool, Steven.
Oh yes, I just had the video done. It's getting edited right now. I wanted to do it publicly this week, but of course with making sure the video comes out correctly, stuff like that, pictures of the home and video of the home. So once it's all done, guys, I will share the info and stuff like that with y'all.
Wow. That's awesome. Steven, does your nonprofit have a website?
That's getting created right now, guys. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just being honest. She's working on it right now because the links for the online raffle will have to be on the website. So I'm getting, but it's called the Josephine Marie Torres nonprofit.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's really cool. I can't wait to hear like what happens from us. You'll definitely have to keep us posted.
I will. I appreciate it. Like I said, I appreciate y'all letting me get on your platform and, learning from y'all guys.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Anybody else? Any other wins, accomplishments, milestones, just anything anybody wants to share? We'll get started after maybe a couple more shares. What else we got? Anybody with a win? Anybody with an event coming up?
Nikea's event this past weekend.
That was an awesome event. I think
I can share. My name is Brandy. I've worked with veterans for 13 years. And I recently
wait, Brandy, you got to tell everybody the name of the nonprofit.
It's called Beyond the Barracks. And I got connected with Dr. Sharon through an amazing gentleman I know through the VA, Derek Brown. And he's like, you got to get in with Sharon. She's amazing. She'll help you. So I actually have an event coming up next month. It's everything we do is suicide prevention, offering alternative forms of therapy to our veterans. So I put together all kinds of stuff, fishing trips, hunting. We do yoga. We work on the parasympathetic nerve. We do EMDR therapy, paint nights, archery, all kinds of things, anything just to recreate, connectedness, recreate that fellowship that our veterans tend to lack when they get home, and which then leads into, a slew of other things. But we have an event, and I never like to give myself recognition, but I am super stoked because my event, I have different tables. One of the levels is a VIP table. My goal was 5. I literally posted it 3 days ago. I already have 6 VIP tables. So I'm super stoked about that.
Wow. That is huge. Brandy, I'm so proud of you guys. You have to tell Derek that I said hello. That is Awesome.
No, I definitely will. I literally just talked to him this morning for like an hour. So
Why
I'll
is he
definitely
not on here? That's what you need to tell him.
no, well, we can talk later, but I'm gonna end up getting the monthly program, and Derek is actually gonna do it with me. So
Awesome.
we're
Okay.
yeah, we've been in talk. So we'll talk later. But yes, so thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited to be a part of this.
Thank you, Brandy. Thanks for joining us today too. All right, cool. So we have a great session for you guys today. Welcome to Wednesday. Welcome to Shamber Lunch and Learn. Today is we titled it because Amber and I are dorky, so we titled it Mo Data, Mo Money. And I was trying to do it off that one song. So if you guys saw our posting on Instagram, I had the music going to it. So let me get that PowerPoint up, and we got a couple of cool surprises for you guys today that we will share. It is a heavy packed PowerPoint. I am so sorry. You guys know I hate to do death by PowerPoint, but it's one of those topics where we really have to dive into some of that stuff. So let me pull it up and then we'll get started. You guys know we keep it really informal. If you've got questions that you want to ask, Deering, just pipe up and ask them, especially if you have questions. It's probably a question that someone from the group is going to have. So ask away in front of everyone, but Amber, Alex, and I will also keep an eye on the chat box too. Okay. Can y'all see my screen? I think I saw some yeses that you guys can see the screen. Okay. So importance of data collection for nonprofits. We're going to go through the what, why, and the how. Ultimately, let me just say the end goal ultimately is so that we can get more funding for the organization and so that you guys can have more impact on the community. Those are the two end results and end goals of collecting data, because we want more money for the nonprofit so that we can serve more people. So we're looking at the reasons of the what, why, and how. So really data has become a driving force for success and sustainability. Understanding your what, why, and how, this is how you make decisions. This is how you know if your impact is meaningful. This is how you know if you're efficient or if you need to reverse engineer something. This allows you to further the mission of your organization. I am running through parts of this kind of fast, guys, because I want to get into the how to actually get the data and that stuff. So don't forget, we record this. I'll also post the PowerPoint in our Facebook group, but this will get sent out to you too. But really just want to emphasize a couple of things so that we can go into the more critical component of data collection, how to do it, what should be collected, all that fun stuff. Because we'll probably go back to a couple things and then we have a real world example to show you too. Okay, so why do we collect data? If I didn't get something on this slide and you think there's another reason to collect data, drop it in the chat or go off mute and let us know. These are the primary reasons for us collecting data. This is how a successful nonprofit builds their programs and initiatives. You literally can't build your program and initiatives without data. You cannot. Nobody can tell me you can't. You cannot. You have to have data to understand how to even build your programs, further your programs, and evaluate your programs. How you make informed decision-making, impact assessment, accountability and transparency. This is also how you adapt to the changing needs and challenges. If something comes out from Congress, if something happens in the community, data tells us how, because it trends and provides patterns. If any questions pop up in the chat, Alex or Amber or somebody just speak up and let me know. Okay, so what data do we collect? This slide and the next one is where we're going to really get stuck on for a little bit. This, as an initial newer nonprofit organization, these are the basic 4 categories for collecting data. You're going to want to collect donor information, program outcomes, demographics, and financial data. So let me say that one more time. The 4 main areas to collect data for your nonprofit: donor information, program outcomes, demographics, and financial data. And Amber, I'll have you talk a little bit about the financial data one when we get to it in a second. Y'all know Amber's already the financial data badass. So we're going to have her take us down a journey with what does financial data, what does that mean? So when we're talking about donor information, Why do you want to collect donor information? So that you can stay engaged with your donors, understand how much money you're getting from donors, understand what you're doing with the donors. So the donor information that you want to collect, their name, their giving details, history, maybe even their preferences. Do they have a specific program that they like to donate to within your organization? So this information helps you build relationships, tailor your fundraising efforts, and the most important, express gratitude. So that's the donor information. And if you have a software, you guys hear us talk a lot about give butter, like butter you spread on bread. So if you guys don't have a software that's collecting your donor information, consider Give Butter. Great organization as a donor management platform. There's other ones like Network for Good, Antidote, all sorts of crazy ones, but I like Give Butter. I think it's the easiest to use. It'll collect the name of your donor, their phone number, so you can do text to give, their address if you want to mail them something. And then it collects their giving history. Okay. So next, program outcomes. The program outcomes and the demographics, those are your two most important categories of data to collect. Because when you have program outcomes and data and your demographics, that's how you can then pitch your case for support. And that's how you guys get extra funding for your nonprofit organization. You have to have it for grants. Some donors want it, foundations want it. So some of the critical components for program outcomes. You're going to be tracking and measuring the outcomes and impact and initiatives. This data demonstrates the effectiveness of your work. This helps you understand your program improvement and for your funding applications. So we'll go into some of the program outcomes that you want to collect. So in combination with demographics, so demographic data such as their gender, their age, their race. This helps you understand your target services and identify unneed mets and ensure inclusivity so that you're serving your whole population or whatever it is part of your mission. So understanding program outcomes and demographics, those are the critical components to collecting data. So remember, there's 4 categories: donor information, program outcomes, demographics, and financial data. Donor information so that you can understand relationships, donor data, donor history of donating, relationships, expressing gratitude, all of that. Program outcomes. This is how you know if your program is in fact impactful. If you don't have data, there is no way you know if your program is impactful. The way you might do that is a pre and post survey. We'll get into that. The third category, demographics. You can use a Google form, and we're going to get into that on the next slide too. Demographics, you should be collecting the name, their age, their gender, their race. Those are the main components to demographic that you need to collect, but some other cool information might be what kind of household is the individual coming from, especially if you're in a youth program. Erica and Maurice, if you guys have youth programming, then you guys might want to collect, are they coming from a single parent household? Is it a single parent mom? Is it a single parent dad? Is it a single parent grandma or grandpa or auntie? That's the data that's interesting and unique. But on a bare minimum, you need who you're serving's name, date of birth, so you can get their age, their race, gender, those kind of things. Grant applications a lot of time ask for that information. How many people are you serving? What gender are they? What age are they? And sometimes some do want to know what kind of household are they coming from. Rarely do I collect information on income and things like that. But if you're an organization where income is a component to your programs, then you would want to know that. Okay. And then the fourth category of data to collect is financial data. Miss Amber, Anthony, can you help us understand some of the critical components of understanding financial data? Like, why is it important that we understand financial data? What financial data do we need to understand? And then tell everybody, like I'm about to tell right now, go back and watch our recording on budgets.
So to your point, the information that we've shared with this group before around budgets, right? Number one, it's your responsibility as the founder or as a board member. It is your fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the organization that you're running is financially healthy and that you keep good records. With that said, those basic things then translate to your annual filings to stay compliant with the IRS and then also with the state and the Attorney General. So that's just on the compliance level, okay? That is an expectation when you are really granted / gifted the tax exemption of a 501c3, right? A lot of responsibility there. But I want to give you an insight into grants because obviously you have NPP and Alex working so very hard applying for grants. And then that magical day comes and you get the news that your organization is in fact getting a grant. Well, guess what? With that grant comes a 3-page agreement. It's a legally binding contract that outlines the terms of how you are to use that money. And it gets very, very specific. Recently, a few organizations have gotten a windfall of money. You know, they've been operating for several years and they've now finally gotten money, 300,000, 900,000, et cetera. And they have grant agreements. And they have reached out to NPP to basically give them a framework to stay compliant, because in their grant agreements, the individual giving the grant wants reporting every 2 weeks. Some of the grants are very straightforward in that you are actually giving X amount of dollars to an individual and you have this amount of money to distribute over, say, a year. So the maximum, say, is $1,000 per recipient. And so you just have to say who the recipient was, what their need was, and again, give the demographic information. And then, of course, you give the balance of grant monies still basically in the account. But that is something that you have to track separately from your organization's operating expenses and other programs. So anytime you get a grant, and whether or not there are multiple grants coming into a program, it's almost like you have to think about it being in a separate bucket. These individuals that are giving grants want it tracked to the nth degree. They want to see where every dollar is going. And again, it's outlined in your binding legal contract in the grant agreement. So imagine if you are not giving them what they want, then of course, you know, there are repercussions. And of course, ongoing, they won't support your organization anymore. So for those of you, I guess the way we would think about it, and I like to use real world examples because a class that I just taught this weekend was the way you get great in your business is if you actually get great in your household and use your household budget as an example, and then translate those skills over to your business, right? But if you were to look at your household, you obviously have your overhead, your house, your utilities, et cetera. But say, for instance, you have 2 children. Well, imagine those 2 children being a special program. So you would keep a whole separate list of expenses for your children: sports, dance class, private school, extracurricular activities, food, clothing, et cetera, which has nothing to do with the overhead of your household organization. So you get how I do that segmentation. Same in your nonprofit, same in for-profit businesses. But you have to get down to the nth degree with these grants. So example, you're using your children, you know, I use the example of your children as a program. Well, now we want to know how much is Stephen costing within that program. And that's basically what a grant is in your organization. And you have to report it quite often. And they want the metrics and they want the details.
Okay.
I have,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
This is Brandy. So my question is this. So with that data, is that basically just like, how would you report that to them? Do they want it like on an Excel spreadsheet? Do they give you specific, like, hey, this needs to be done on this, platform? How does that look like?
So it's
So you
always
see it-
different.
Yeah, it's always done. You'll see it in a couple of different ways. Sorry, Amber. So one of the ones Amber's talking about, they have a specific way that they want it reported. So some funders and grants that you get, they'll have a specific template that you have to fill out. Alex is really good at, it's called post-award management. I wouldn't say it's very fun, but it's a required part of the process. And I see Alex, I see her cracking up and nodding. So sometimes you'll, as an organization, have to come up with your own method for reporting. And then sometimes as an organization, you have to fill out their Excel file or their portal. A lot of times you have to apply and submit your grant data in their portal. Alex, are there any other ones you've seen on post-award management?
Yeah, I would just echo what you guys are saying. I agree 100%. Every grant maker's quite different. So, sometimes you can get large amounts with very little reporting, or you could get small amounts with a lot of reporting requirements. I've seen both.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Okay, Amber, any other final thoughts on financial data?
Just that you just have to track everything. And, the way I like to track is I do it often. I don't wait till the end of the month. I don't wait till the end of the week. I generally glance at it at least daily so I can keep a handle on it. That's best practices. It has served me well over the years. It's obviously a discipline and a habit, but, one that I highly recommend. And I know when you're first starting, you don't have tons of things to track, but it's still, great to check in with it very often.
Yeah, absolutely. I would echo that too. So initially, the 4 primary areas of data to collect: donor information, program outcomes, demographics, and financials. And there's a whole other component to financials too, which is just the financials of the organization and your operating budgets, understanding your program revenues and expenses in and out. So there's a lot of different components to each of these categories. We're just touching on the key highlights of them. Okay. Look at what I titled it, the most important slide in the world. It made me think of the Dos Equis man with the beer. And it made me think of that. So it made me laugh. So I put it on here. The most important slide in the world, how to collect the data. So there's 3 ways that we have recommended on here. There are a bazillion ways to collect data, of course. These are the 3 primary ways and our favorite ways to collect data. I will say that third bullet on there, which I'll get into, is not my favorite way, but it is a primary way to collect data. And we're going to talk about using interns for that. So the first way to collect data, especially if you are a newer nonprofit organization, which majority of you are, Google Forms is your bestie. You literally can create pre and post surveys. You can create a Google form that collects the demographic data alone. Maybe it's just the individual or participant's name, date of birth, their gender, their race, any other information that you want to know about the people that you serve. If you have programs where people need to register for your program, this is a great opportunity for them to collect information. So the coolest part of Google Forms, which is why it is my absolute favorite method, is Google Forms is already has an integration into Excel. So when somebody fills out your Google form, or if you're just using Google form to fill out for participants or whatever data you're collecting, it automatically goes into an Excel spreadsheet and the information is already there. And it's free. Oh God, I just love free. Free makes me happy. Makes me very, very happy. So number 1 way to collect data using Google Forms. So it's free. You can text it, you can email it, you can link it, even on your website. If you have people that you want to register for your programs or just data you want to collect, you can embed this link onto your website. very user friendly for both you as the nonprofit and then also for individual users. It's probably one of the more intuitive survey forms out there. And then, like I just said, responses are automatically compiled, meaning it already goes from your Google form and goes straight into your Excel spreadsheet. And just like Parisia said in the chat box, it is an app also. So you can download Google Forms as an app on your iPhone or Android, but you can also go into your Google Drive, your Google account that you might have, and you can use the Google Forms there. Okay, so that's one method. Second, Excel. But remember, Google Forms goes and dumps all the data right into Excel. But if you're sort of uncomfortable with Google Forms, which you can find free YouTube videos on how to use Google Forms, you can just open up an Excel document and you can manually enter all the data. So you'll want to have your columns. Column 1 is maybe their first name. Column 2, participant second name, their last name. Column 3, their date of birth. Column 4, their gender. Column 5, their race. And collect all of that data. So you've got Google Forms, which is my favorite because then you're not trying to figure out people's gender, age, and race and all of that. You let them fill that information out. Google Form will dump it into Excel. If you don't want to quite use Google Forms yet, just open up Excel and just start tracking it because you want to know how many people have you served. So major benefits of using Excel, it's accessible. You don't have to have, Google accounts. Oops, sorry, guys. And it's just easy for data tracking. So, when back in the day, before we really had like Excel and computers and all of that, and we're trying to track stuff and you literally just put a slash on a piece of paper, like, okay, that was one person I served. Or the clicker things. I forget what those are called, but as people walk in the door and they just click it and count, okay, that's to collect data. And then once you have your data from your Google Forms or from your Excel, then more YouTube videos, which we'll probably have to do a follow-up training on this, but YouTube also has great ways of you taking that data and turning it into graphs and charts so that you guys can have visualizations. That's the coolest part. Nothing like a real pretty chart. Ooh, like nothing like a really pretty chart. Okay. And then the third way, yes, it's on my favorite list, but it's the worst way possible. But if you're not doing anything electronic or digital, then paper form is critical. And sometimes you're going to have paper forms no matter what, because maybe you need a wet signature on something or a parent has to fill something out. Then your paper forms are going to be good for that. And then maybe get an intern from the local university or a high school student who then can get that data off that piece of paper and put it into Excel for you. Okay. So paper form is great. It's not the number one decision, but it is there as a method. So it's great for remote or low tech areas. It's a great backup as a physical record. And then you can later transfer data into a digital format. Okay. So these are in order of my favorite ways. So you've got Google Forms, you've got Excel, and then you've got paper. Any questions on this? Yeah, okay, so I just saw in the chat, Nikkei, Jot Forms is awesome also. So Jot Forms is another form of like Google Forms. They just have different features. That's a really good one also. Jot Form has a free version, and then you can actually, Jot Form has an enterprise version too. It costs a lot of money, like $6,000 a year, something like that. But if you're getting into really complex data collection, then your companies like JotForm are going to be really good for you. If you're wanting to do case management services, if you're wanting to collect more intricate data, if you're doing mental health services, that's another good option for you. Okay. Any questions on how to collect the data or what data to collect? Okay.
Sharon,
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
sure.
I have another question with the data collecting. So like for me, for instance, like with a veteran, like, I kind of want to know like their mental state prior to an event, their mental state post to an event.
Yes.
Is there like a kind of generic space that we can go to kind of get more like better ideas of what would be the correct questions to ask for that data?
Yeah. So a lot of times Google, and you can Google other organizations and some of their pre and post survey data. But you know, another one where you'll have to like tailor the information and review, vet the questions, Chat GPT.
Oh, somebody else just told me about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Perfect.
Brandy, you can always reach out to me too, and I can always review the questions or kind of help you with those. But you're for sure going to want to collect their emotional state before and after event. And you, since you only work with veterans, at least you know that demographic, but there's a lot you're going to want to know about that veteran, especially you know, how they're feeling coming into an event. How do you feel today? What resources do you need? What services do you need?
Yes.
Post survey, did you get the services that you need? How are you feeling today? And then, you know, you'll want to collect that data in 90 days, in 6 months, and in a year, you know, et cetera.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yep. Derek probably can even access some really good social emotional questions for you from the VA.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Any other questions on what data to collect and how to collect the data? Okay. So this is just some best practices to keep in mind when you're collecting data and understanding and building out your data infrastructure, having clear objectives. You know, are you collecting data for an event or for a program or to understand the needs of the community that you're serving? Be consistent in your data collection process. So your pre and your post surveys, for example, need to match, because you're asking, how did you feel before and how did you feel after? So you don't want to add in a bunch of different components, because then you won't be able to track any trends or patterns. Data security. So with Google Forms, Jot Forms, Excel, you need to have a method in order to protect the personal information of the data that you're collecting of your individuals. And then, of course, regular review and analysis. Schedule periodic data analysis sessions, user insights, informed decision-making, review your programs. And then step number 5, best practice, repeat all the above. So look at your clear objectives and ensure they're clear objectives. So what are you trying to achieve with your data? What story are you trying to tell? And remember, once you guys get to the level where you're filing a 990 for your organization, which whenever you get above $50,000 of revenue or gross receipts within your organization, there's a different type of tax filing you have to do, which is called a 990. And on the 990s, you have to report your impact data. And your impact data needs to be in alignment with your financial data that you're reporting. So there's so many different components to collecting data for the critical success of your organization. Okay, any questions on best practices?
Sharon, real quick,
Sure.
just to kind of dovetail off the point you made, for those few organizations that we were vetting to see if we could assist them, that's literally the first thing we did. We went to their website and we got their impact report, which was the fancy report with the graphs specific to their programs, giving us that information. And then I went and downloaded their 990 and I started to cross-check it against their federal filing. So just what she said is exactly why all of this is important and why it all has to match.
Yep. The impact story and the financials, it's got to make sense. Okay. So why does data analysis matter? You've heard me say this already before. Identifies trends and patterns, reveals areas for improvement, and it guides your strategic decision making. This helps you understand the community that you're serving, what they may or may not need. It helps you understand how you're moving your financials around. Do you need more financials and funding? This data and understanding your data will help you get more money for your organization, because you'll be able to say the impact that you have, the more impact that you need to do, the more money you'll need to finish that impact. Excuse me. Tools for your data analysis. Google Forms, Jot Forms. There's other companies out there. Google Forms is free. There's a level of free for Jot Forms. Excel, fantastic. Paper. This data allows you guys to demonstrate and show your data in a visualized method, charts, graphs, okay? And then it helps you understand your key performance indicators, KPIs, key performance indicators. I was waiting to see Amber smile on that. That's one of her favorite words. Key performance indicators. Your data helps you guys understand the impact. Is your program impactful? Is it not? Sometimes programs are impactful. That's okay. Is it identifying the trend of your community? Do you know what your community needs? That's what understanding the insights of your data tells you all. Okay, where's Miana? Is she on here? So I don't know if you guys remember, I know I saw her earlier, but do you guys remember a couple of weeks ago, those of you that have been coming every week, there is a young woman on here, Miana. She is the founder of Voices of Impact. It's a nonprofit organization in Los Angeles, California, and she won consulting from Amber and I on creating a data impact infrastructure. I can't tell if she's still on here or not because I can only see
here.
Okay, so Miana, we have for you. So let me just tell you guys straight from the beginning. So she won the services from Amber and I. We met with Miana and one of her colleagues. Wait, Miana, was that your sister?
Yes, that's my sister. So
Okay.
she's actually the founder and I am the director of programs. So Shakayla is on here too.
Oh, she is. Okay.
Yes.
I can't see the screen. It drives me crazy. So I'm like looking at some stuff blind because I can only see a couple of people. Okay. So what we met with them, first on their website, and Miana, I'm totally putting you guys on the spot. So I'm so sorry because y'all are getting blasted, but and blessed at the same time. So when we first met with you guys, Amber and I had looked at the website. We really didn't understand the impact of the organization. We thought that maybe like a couple people, I'm just telling the whole story. A couple people had been served. We didn't understand the impact of Voices of Impact. We met with Miana and her sister on the Zoom. We got them to tell us the story of Voices of Impact. And little did we know, holy shit, the impact of this organization was wild. And so I'm like, why is this not on your guys' website? Why does the world not know about Voices of Impact? So what we tasked them to do was to sit down together and go back through their organization from the day they incorporated and basically type out the timeline of Voices from Impact. From that, the two of them sat down and created these 4 screenshots on the left of the screen, which this document is awesome. It's almost kind of like you could call it a deck. So I'm going to refer to it as a deck. So they created this deck, which is their program overview. It talks about all of the different demographics, the parent guardian demographics, the children that they serve, how many people they're serving, the details of all of the different programs, their events, their outreach, like all the impact of Voices to Impact. And I said, okay, this is cool. So what we did from that is we took all of that information and condensed it into a 1-page document for Voices of Impact that they can use to present to funders, grantors, donors, social media. It just says, and that's the then, so this is the before is the screenshots. And then now we have the after. And this after shows the mission, what each program is, their story, how to contact them, and then boom, right in your face, the impact. 8 graduates, 24 special day cakes, 201 community service training hours, 776 families served in the past couple years of this nonprofit organization. So Miana, our gift to you for going through this whole entire process is this one sheet where we took all the information from these, like, I don't know, it was like 8 pages of documents that you guys killed it on, that you were going through, and then converted that to your one sheet so that you guys could really demonstrate and show off your data and the impact of your organization.
Thank you.
Of
That's
course.
so nice. That was a big task for us. It's overwhelming to try to condense that down. And we were never too sure of what we should keep, what we should, leave off. But looking at it now, we see the points that we need to keep. And that's something that could be sent around and attached to anything that we do when we send out to like funders and things like that. So thank you so much.
Of
We
course.
really appreciate it.
We'll send it to you in Canva in case there's corrections that you want to make to it or enhance. I know Amber's got a couple of comments too.
Okay.
And Mayanna, can you tell everybody, because you said you guys sat down for the weekend and really put pen to paper, like you said. Number one, it was an intimidating task, but number two, it was a little bit time consuming, but when you got intentional about it, look what you created or you were able to convey, right? So can you speak on that a little bit?
Yes. So me and my sister have full-time jobs. So we were like, how are we going to find the time to do this? We've been doing this for the last 6 years, and that's a lot of information. So how are we going to find the time to consolidate all the data that we had? We had some stuff on paper. We had some forms and stuff on forms here, some forms there. We viewed Jot form, Google Forms. We had to go through different channels to consolidate all of our data. And we just sat down in one sitting and we were like, we are not leaving or getting up until we finish, because it's just we continue to serve our families every Wednesday. So it's just going to keep adding up and up and up. So we were like, let's just take care of it. It is daunting. It is time consuming, but this is worth it because now we're done.
You
And
guys
developed an internal system and process to add the data to what you already have. Yeah. And it just goes to show the work instills the worth.
Yes, we're trying to like the forms that you guys showed us. We're going to be transforming everything. We partnered with, not partnered, but we reached out to this program called After School Headquarters. We're learning them, and we might be able to put all that information and all the forms and stuff onto there. But like y'all said, just being more on top of our data is going to be what's going to push us far, because having to go back when you have grants and stuff due or you're trying to apply for grants, looking at this page is helpful, and looking at the data in one place is helpful, opposed to pulling papers out the file cabinet and notebooks that we had from like 5 years ago. Like, it was a mess, but we got it together, and we're not going to write anything down again on paper. We are going to make sure that we continue to digitize everything, because it's very, 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 very helpful. Shakayla, do you want to say anything?
Yes. I just want to
There
thank
she is. Now I can finally see her face. There you are.
Hi everybody. So I just want to thank you both, Sharon and Amber, for just pushing us to actually collect this data ourselves. Like, we already had a lot of data collected over the years, but to really sit down and consolidate everything and to really put pen to paper as far as the data so we can see like the trends also that's been happening. It was very insightful just realizing the work that we did through our data and the stuff that we've done for the community. So it would definitely be great for our efforts in applying for grants, because we feel like we're at the point where we can actually apply for grants because we have all of this information collected thanks to like your guys like just inspiration. So I really appreciate everything you've done so far. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Sharon, you gave us the push. After you got off the call with us and you was like, I'm not playing with y'all, we was like,
right.
Okay.
I'm like,
I may have threatened the two of you. I can't remember. I know I pulled my car over so I could look at the two of you in your eyes.
Yeah.
You guys did fantastic. Like, I'm on, to be honest with you, Amber and I were really impressed by you two taking the commitment, taking the time to sit down and understand your guys' impact. Because when you look over at that just like orange little rectangular half circle shaped thingy, like when you see that big bold 776 families served, I was blown away. So it was exciting for us to see the whole process too, and watch you guys kind of put it together and sort of have all the parts. You guys did a really great job. So we'll send you the one sheeter and we developed it in Canva. So we'll send it to you guys and we'll transfer ownership to you, and then you guys can do whatever you want with it. But this really is to demonstrate to everybody today your final outcome of when you do this whole data process, understanding your whole organization and what it does. And now they have the opportunity to use this data that they know they have and the impact that they have to go apply for grants, to ask for funding so that they can serve thousands of families, have hundreds of graduates in their program, maybe even go to local grocery stores and cake shops and get all the cakes donated to be a part of the Cake Day program. And then further, you know, the community resiliency training programs and stuff like that. So it's a whole bigger picture. It's this so exciting. I love this for you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. You know, as you guys said, we just gave you the push. You had it all, but you made it a priority. You made it top of mind. And just to manage everybody's expectation in the room, that's exactly what you have to do. This is not something you can outsource. Now, obviously, once you have a team, once you've laid a foundation like this, then of course you can have somebody to keep it going. But in the beginning, this is something that you have to craft and you have to collect. And then from there, it builds. But it has to be a priority for you.
Okay, well, we couldn't have had better, perfect poster children for this example. Miana and Shakili, like great jobs, you guys. So keep it up. You guys are, I would imagine, almost to the top of the game where you're caught up with data collection. Now you just need to refine it and just clean up your processes. And now you know what kind of data to collect. You guys can really put that in place so that you don't ever have to go back and reconfigure and clean up data and have an entire weekend spent hanging out with each other doing data collection. Although I'm sure it was probably fun bonding opportunity. One's like yes and one's like eh. Was there wine involved?
No, but there was matcha involved, and I don't like matcha. I was letting
love
her pick,
matcha.
and I'm not letting her pick again.
Okay, we don't want any sibling issues here. Awesome. Okay, well, great job, you guys. So I hope that for everyone on here, this just demonstrates the work from the beginning and the end result so that everybody can kind of see, oh my God, what is all of this work we're doing going to eventually end like? And on top of this, once your nonprofit is really operating at the end of every year, come January 1st, you all need to be producing your annual reports, which is sort of like their document on the left side of the screen. That's kind of the initial start to an annual report, but you will only show that year's data impact. And that is also required by a lot of funders, grantors, and other organizations. So it's all kind of needed in the end anyway. Okay. Okay, we had to change it up with some like just new designs of the slide. I'm going to open it up for any questions. I can go back to any slides, any questions anybody has on data collection. Congratulations to Voices of Impact for putting in the work and creating their data infrastructure and showing their impact. What questions does anybody have?
Hi, Dr. Sharon. This is Karen Gilmano. How are you?
Hi, Karen.
Good, good. Congratulations to Voices of Impact. That was very inspirational, seeing how it was put together. And can you provide the group with a blank format of the smaller documents that build up to the one document, the layout?
Yeah, you know what? It won't be this exact one, but I can definitely get you guys sort of like a template for an annual report.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Let me check the chat box. Absolutely. Yep. We will share the PowerPoint slides. We will share the recording from today. It'll all get emailed out to you guys. And then also it'll be in the private Facebook group. If you're not on Facebook, let me know. And we'll get you a different method for accessing this stuff, but it'll also be in an email to you guys. It'll come out probably tomorrow or by Friday.
Dr. Sharon, I have a question. So I just purchased a QR code so that I can have it anyways, let me ask you this question. As far as data collecting, so like my larger events, I have 300 to 400 in attendance. Not all those are veterans. Is it like, not, I don't know what the best way to obtain it. I want it to be easy for them, but like that QR code, have you guys seen like a positive reaction to that? Like if I did it where scan the code, it takes them straight to my website, but that the questions will be right there. Is that something that I should do, or should I keep it just email based?
I would so here's the thing. It's kind of like for donors. You want to make everything as easy as frickin' possible. So
Yeah.
if you have multiple locations of access, then that's what you need to do. So if you want to just tell people, hey, go to my website, you can get the form there. Do you want me to email it to you? Do you want me to text it to you? Make it all options available.
Okay.
And for those of you that have individuals that maybe don't have access to a phone or a computer or internet and can't fill out the form, what you can do, what's really cool with Google Forms and Job Forms and all the other ones, you can fill out the form on behalf of somebody so that at least you collect the data. So don't let not having technology be an excuse for not collecting the data. Good question, Brandy.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Any other comments? We'll be announcing the October schedule. Remember, every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So we'll come out with the October schedule this weekend for the whole month. But remember, if there's any topics that you guys want us to cover, drop them in the chat, send us an email, shoot us a DM on Instagram. Y'all are off the hook for today, but Amber and I will be on here for a couple minutes more to answer any questions from anybody.
Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course. Have a great day, guys.
Hey Sharon,
Thank you.
Hello. Hi, Dee.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Where's your beautiful face?
Good. Oh, I'm not on. I'm not. Yeah. It's one of those days.
You're not public ready?
I'm not public ready at all. I do have a question. So, as you know, I work for a nonprofit, and you might have covered this. I was a little late. I was in a meeting, but I know, like, when I saw your post, you talked about how like Meta is totally, like going to start charging. And I ran into this really interesting challenge that with Facebook, they sent out something stating that like, okay, they removed our donation button. And I'm like, okay, well, I went through all the, the requests and answered all their questions. And for some reason, so now we have to go through PayPal, right? And I'm like, well, I just want to know, is anyone else having this problem? Like Facebook has not, like I called and talked to them. They said, okay, we're going to create a ticket. I've been talking to them through the support chat, but I cannot get this donation button back on Facebook. I'm just wondering, is anyone else having this problem?
So, Denisha, for you, what I would recommend to avoid the whole shenanigans and shit show of all of that is get Give Butter.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay,
Yeah.
Give Butter.
And you can get that if you go onto the link in our Instagram, and you can always text me too. But if you go into the link in our nonprofit plug Instagram and you click on the link tree, there's a link to sign up for Give Butter for free right there.
Okay, so just so I can, properly present this to my boss, just let him know that, like, basically Facebook is giving me the runaround, and
But
so
just basically say fuck off Facebook.
Yeah, like really, because I've never had this problem before. Like even with my own business, when I reach out to them, they respond. I just kind of feel like, and at first they had the link, like, oh, all you have to do is sign up for this, and but then they removed the link, so now I can't even find it, and I'm like, not getting any response, and they're like, oh, we created a ticket. I call, okay, somebody will reach back to you in 5 days. I'm checking this. This has been going on. We've been having this conversation since the beginning of this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So your number one solution, it basically what Facebook is going to be for everybody is just your basic social media platform. And you're going to have a donor management software. And GiveButter is that. I mean, there's others out there, but GiveButter, like, you know, it's GiveButter's my favorite. I don't get a kickback from them or anything. I've been an executive director. I've held every role in a nonprofit organization to use.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
There's tons of other platforms out there. So if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you, and you guys can test out other ones, but it's one of the easier ones.
Easier ones. Okay. Yeah. I appreciate that because I was just like trying not to pull my hair out. Like, I know I'm smart. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. No, I basically was, when I saw that announcement the other day, so that's why I posted it on our social media, because I was like, this sucks. And Giving Tuesday is coming up, and the primary platform for Giving Tuesday was Facebook.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get on this, you know, ASAP, because I was just so like baffled. Like, what am I missing? Okay. I totally appreciate that. You know, please keep doing this. A wealth of information. Bless you guys, because you know, sometimes you can know what you know, and then you don't even know what you don't know because you don't know it. So
and that's our goal. We really want to bring like what people like, what you don't know, and enhance what you do know.
Yep, I appreciate it. Thank you guys so very much.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today, Dee.
Of course, I'm gonna try to join every time now.
Good, I'm gonna hold you to it.
Hey, please do.
Okay, everybody, it is 2 p.m. Pacific. We are out of here. Have a great week. We will see you at next week's Lunch and Learn. Thank you for joining Chamber. Hi, Darren.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Have a fantastic week.